What if you could earn $12,500 or more per speech as a professional speaker without having to promote your own events or selling from the stage? Well, it turns out that's absolutely possible, even if you're brand new to the speaking business. And in this video, I'm going to give you a lot of information that's going to help you go in precisely that direction. But first, I need to make a really important distinction because when most people think about professional speakers, they think about people like Tony Robbins, right? Grant Cardone, Brendan Bouchard. And these are incredible and talented speakers, but they're all platform speakers. They're not keynote speakers. And that's a really important distinction. So platform speakers are always promoting their own events. And then when you go to the event, they're selling from the stage. There's always something for sale. There's programs and products that are available for sale. They sell them. That's how they make money, right? Now, that's completely different than keynote speakers. As a keynote speaker, organizations are going to pay you a check to fly out to their event, wherever that might be, and deliver your keynote for roughly an hour, and then get off the stage, get your check, and fly back home. And if you tried to sell something at an event like that, you would never get hired back. It's completely not acceptable. So these are very different worlds. Now, the reason people always think about platform speakers when they think about becoming a speaker is because we see the marketing, right? Tony Robbins and Grant Cardone and Brendan Bouchard and all these other people, they're promoting their events to consumers, to people like you, people like me. So we see those advertisements. And so our perception naturally of professional speakers are all these people who are constantly selling something. And that's a lot of people are intimidated. They want to be a speaker. And maybe it's been your dream for your whole life. I knew I wanted to be a professional speaker when I was 10 years old. I knew that I wanted to be up there. I wanted to be trying to convey a message. I was born in 1971. I grew up in Canada. So I grew up watching like Ronald Reagan was on TV, Margaret Thatcher in the UK. This guy, Brian Mulroney, was in Canada. That was our Canadian prime minister at the time. And I used to watch them give speeches on TV. I used to we had two pastors at the church that I went to when I was growing up. Both of them, they were totally different from each other, but they were both outstanding in their ability to convey a message, tell stories. They were fantastic. So it was a dream of mine since I was 10 years old to become a speaker one day. And maybe that's the case for you as well. So I've been a keynote speaker for 17 years. So I've spoken at over 400 events in 33 different countries all around the world. And they're all business conferences. They're all organizations that paid me to come to their event. Many times they're in exotic destinations like the Caribbean, or I've done a ton of international stuff. Again, 33 countries. So I've spoken all over the place, and they paid me a check, and I still have them all. I still have, because I used my phone to deposit the money. So I still have all the originals. These are all checks that these organizations paid me to come to their event and speak and deliver my speech, which is usually an hour. It's usually 57 minutes. So if you're curious, my fee for domestic events here in the United States, and I include Canada and Mexico in that, my speaking fee for domestic events, that category, is $17,500 plus $1,500 for travel. And then my fee for international events, really overseas events, is $22,500 plus business class travel. So, and I've been doing this for a long time. Now, I wasn't making fees like that the whole time. I've been a speaker for 17 years, but for the first 7, 8 years, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't understand the distinction that you already now know from this video between platform and keynote speakers. I didn't understand that distinction. I didn't know how to do the marketing. I really struggled a lot. I had a mountain of debt. It was crazy. My credit cards were racked up. I borrowed money from my brother. I borrowed money from my sister. I mean, and all my friends and family, they thought I was crazy to try and become a professional speaker. One of my best friends, she told me years later, she said the whole time she thought I was nuts. She thought I would never get any traction. She didn't even know that that type of business existed. Again, her perception was the same as maybe yours and certainly mine. She was thinking about people like Tony Robbins, and not people like keynote speakers. There's probably 10,000 keynote speakers out there. And these are people who get paid a check to go to an event, deliver their keynote, and then leave. So this is something I've done for a long time. What are the organizations that are actually going to hire you? Well, the big one is corporations. So, and I'm going to tell you about the structure of the market in a second, but the real money is with corporations, and also to a slightly lesser extent associations. Associations generally have smaller budgets than corporations, so you want to think about when you're becoming a speaker, you want to think about what's the message you want to convey, and how can a business benefit from that. So keynote speaking generally has four categories. There's inspiration, there's motivation, there's leadership, and there's overcoming adversity, right? So, motivation is getting people to do what they already know they should be doing. They're just not doing it. That's motivation. Inspiration is to get people to do something that they never even thought about until just now. So it's a brand new idea that you gave them. That's inspiring. You're inspired because it's a new idea, and now you're motivated to do that. Now, leadership is a huge one. And I'm technically a business futurist, so I cover technology trends, energy trends. Where's the private equity money going? Where's the venture capital money going? What's the government spending money on? That's the topic that I talk about. And so most of that falls into the leadership category, because I'm giving people insights on how to grow their business and what direction, how to follow these trends and stay ahead of the trends. That's a leadership topic. The fourth one is overcoming adversity. Unless you have an extraordinary story to tell, avoid overcoming adversity, because you're competing against people who have no arms and legs, right? Potentially, or 90% of their body was burned. They've got burnt. These horrific, unbelievable stories. You're not going to win against those people, and they deserve it. Like, they've gone through now maybe you've gone through something like that, and if so, by all means. But for 99% of people, don't touch the overcoming adversity piece. You just don't want to be there. But leadership is a huge one. Motivation and inspiration. Those are the big ones. So think about what category does it fall into between those four? And how can a business, a corporation, benefit from that? So you got corporations, associations, you've got colleges and universities. They hire speakers, but they don't pay as much. Churches hire speakers, but they also don't pay as much. And even government. Government here in the United States, not so much, but like in the Middle East, for example, I've done a ton of stuff. Like, there's a ton of conferences in Dubai and Abu Dhabi and Kuwait. These are places I've been to dozens of times because there's so many conferences. And the governments will actually hire. I've spoken for a number of government events in the Middle East, and to a lesser extent in Asia, but mostly in the Middle East, you get a lot of government deals. So you should know that I've got a whole video training that I've put together. This is obviously just a YouTube video, so I'm not going to upload like an hour-long training right here on YouTube, but I have put together a big video training for you, which goes through all of this in a ton more detail. And the link is in the description of this video. So if this is something you want to do, and in particular, if you want to be a keynote speaker, like, you want to be paid a check, right? You want companies to pay you a check to come speak and then you leave. If that's something you're interested in, then click that link in the description and you can watch that video training. There's a ton more information there that I'm not going to get to in this video. This is a shorter video just for obvious reasons. But anyway, I'm going to give you a bit more right now. There's basically four levels, if you will, in the speaking business. There's the free circuit, right, where you're speaking for free. There's the cheap circuit. There's the pro circuit, and there's the celebrity circuit. So the celebrity, that's a different world. You can actually get in there, believe it or not, but that's very tricky. So I'm not going to touch on that. But let's talk about these three. Most people think that you have to climb this ladder. So you have to start out doing free events, and then you can get to cheap events. Cheap events is like anywhere from $1,000 to, like, let's say $7,500. That's kind of the cheap circuit. That's booked directly. You're not going to book that through a speakers bureau. But the pro circuit technically starts at $10,000 and goes up to about $30,000. Celebrity circuit is 30,000 and higher. But 10,000 to 30,000, that's the corporate, that's the pro circuit. That's where you want to be. And when I started this video off saying, what if you could make $12,500 per speech or more, I was talking about the pro circuit, because even though the pro circuit technically starts at $10,000, don't ever charge $10,000. It's a crowded space. And even if a company has $10,000 to spend, they're not going to hire the $10,000 person. They're going to go to the $15,000 person and try and talk them down to 10, right? So 10,000 is just a bad number. Don't ever charge 10,000. Just start at 12,500. When I got into the pro circuit, I jumped right to 12,500 and then I went up from there. So, and by the way, the speakers bureaus dominate the pro circuit. So what's a speakers bureau? Well, a speakers bureau is someone who essentially buys you at wholesale and sells you at retail. So if I'm charging, just to make it easy numbers, if I'm charging $20,000, most speakers bureaus are going to take 25% of that. So that's $5,000, right? So my gross fee is $20,000. That's what the client sees, right? No matter what bureau they go to, it's $20,000. I don't get 20,000. I get 15. I get 75% of that. Plus the allocation for travel, I get that as well. But the bureau makes 25%. So they buy me at wholesale and they sell me at retail. They keep 25% of my speaking fee. That's how they make money. Now, what does that mean? That means that the more I charge, the more they make. They want me to charge more, not less, right? That's why I'm saying it's absolutely possible for you to come into the speaking business at the pro circuit level and start charging real fees. I would argue don't even start at 12,500. Go straight to 15,000, because the bureaus won't give you a lot of attention at 12,000. They can't make any money. They can't make any money at that level. Think about it. They make 25%, and then that fee gets split in half because the company, the bureau, gets half of that, and then the salesperson gets the other half. So they only make 12.5% of my speaking fee. So if I'm charging $10,000, they're going to make $1,250. They don't care. They don't care about that at all. They want to be booking $25,000 speakers up to like $80,000 speakers. And there are plenty of speakers that are, $60, $80, $100,000. You'd be amazed how much some people can charge. So from the bureau's perspective, all they want to know is, can they sell me at that fee level? Like, does my website look good enough? Do my photos, does my video look good enough? Those are the three things you need. You need great professional photos, you need a great video, and you need a website that has those too. That's the three things you need. And it has to be good. It has to be worthy of whatever fee you're charging. So if you're charging 15,000 or 20,000, your website has to reflect that. Now there's all sorts, again, the video training that I've got for you is going to give you a lot of information on how to get that and how to make sure your website is good enough and your videos are good enough. It's easy. There's a lot that I can teach you there. So if you're interested, then click on that link. But the bottom line is, if I'm charging more money, that means they make more in commissions. So they want you to charge more, not less. The faster you can get up higher into the fee level, the more attention you're going to get from speakers bureaus and the better you're going to end up doing. So the pro circuit, you want to deal with the bureaus. And the bureaus, you have to understand, when bureaus are working with you, when they know who you are, they trust you, you've done some events for them, so they know that you can perform at that level and the client's going to be happy. They're going to be going out there and selling you to their clients without you doing anything, right? I literally, this whole time, ever since I really started to figure out this business in 2015, that's when I started to understand the structure that I just told you about and how to market myself. The marketing is very important. But that whole time, ever since 2015, I never did any outbound email. I never did any lead generation. I never did anything like that. I did marketing, and the leads literally came into my inbox. So I used to close, when I first started, I was closing like 1 in 10 leads, and then I've improved it. I close about 1 in 7, 1 in 6 leads. So if a lead comes in, I've got about a 1 in 6 chance to close that. but they literally just come into your email inbox, which means that you can focus your time on your message and the impact you want to make on the world and just enjoying your life, right? Being a keynote speaker is the best lifestyle available because you're traveling to exotic places, like I'm in the Caribbean, the Bahamas, or Florida, or here in California. I live just south of Los Angeles in Newport Beach. But all these conferences, many of them take place in resort destinations, beautiful places. And even like the number of events that you do each year, like I do between 20 and 30 events per year. And you can make a really good income. I've made over $2 million in speaking fees since I've been doing this. So you can make an outstanding. So think about if you're earning $15,000 per speech and you do 20 speeches a year, that's 300 grand. And you're only doing 20 events each year. Now, that's another thing that I should tell you. Most people think, oh, that's, whatever it is. That's, 1.5 events every month. That's not the way it is. October is the busiest month by far. And I'll go into that more in the video training. So you're going to do if I did 20, I'm probably doing 5 of them in October alone. So you might make $100,000 in October. I've had Octobers where I literally made $100,000 in 1 month. But then there's other times like March, April, May are generally busy. But then at Christmas time, there's nothing going on. In July, it's usually pretty quiet. First half of August is quiet, but then second half of August it starts to pick up. It's the best lifestyle available. It's a fantastic way to make a living. So anyway, this is just a video on YouTube. If the information here is useful, please like the video. That actually makes a huge difference in the YouTube algorithm. If you click that like button, then YouTube's more likely to let the video go to other people who might be interested using similar keyword phrases or whatever. So I really would appreciate it if you can like the video. But if this is something you're interested in, if you want to be a keynote speaker, I can help you. I know how to do it. I've been doing it for a long time, and I'm very clearly focused on being a keynote speaker. I'm not focused on being a platform speaker. So if you want to be a platform speaker, then the video training probably isn't for it. It's not for you. It just is not for you. But if you want to be a keynote speaker, that's what the video training is all about. And if that's something that interests you, please click on that link and you can watch that video. I can give you a lot more detail there. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching this video. And with any luck, we'll see you again soon.